All right, everybody, welcome to Into the Storm with Ken Navitsky. Really cool night tonight because my son's home from college and just got done wrapping up his collegiate football career. We got a great story. We talk life, we talk politics, we talk culture, we talk everything. But tonight we're just going to talk a little bit about Parker and his road to the University of Dubuque and how he got out of John Marshall and made everything happen. And I'd like to welcome my son Parker to the show. Parker, welcome, man. What's going on, buddy? You're back home for Christmas. How's it going, buddy?
I'm good. I wasn't here for Christmas Eve, but I had to spend some time in the Chicago area with the girlfriend, and got here yesterday and spent some time here. And yeah, it's good. Good to be home.
It is good to be home, man. You slept a long time. You told me you have been sleeping good. You get home, you crash in your bed. And, man, before you know it, you're getting caught up on your sleep, which is good. And you also just happen to come home in the middle of a gigantic blizzard. Yeah. So we've got all kinds of great stuff going on, but we've got you dialed in. So, one of the cool things about this is you're on your way to graduating. And a lot of people know that you and Peyton have had, obviously, your mother and I as your guardians and your biggest fans, working your way all the way through high school and college. You came out of high school during COVID. You were the Sertoma athlete of the season. You had a lot of great accomplishments, and at the very end, it became a challenge because we were really kind of trying to figure out where we were going to put you to go to college. Talk a little bit about that challenge, because at first you wanted to be a Duck. All you wanted to be was a Duck. You didn't want to hear anything else, and we had to take a trip out west. It was kind of cool, though. It was a great time.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I always wanted to be a Duck growing up. It was just love their uniforms, and they had so many good players at the time. It was like electric football to watch. But yeah, I always wanted to be a Duck. That COVID year, 2021 was my last high school football career, year. Getting recruited. I know you kind of got started at the end of my junior year, and we were talking to a lot of different colleges, and they were just like, we don't have the scholarships to give out like we do because everybody gets a COVID year. So my opportunities kind of were very little. I felt like I should have had a little bit more, but yeah, there was just very little. And I was very grateful for every opportunity I was given, at the D3 level, at the NAI level. But yeah, it was just very skewed. I mean, we'd go on visits and they'd offer, walk-on spots, or they still have a scholarship offer. And, growing up, it was always important. You hear about it, and you hear about, getting scholarships, getting school paid for, and all that stuff like that. And it was just kind of something that I always had on my radar, and it was just kind of a struggle in my my last year of high school because nobody really had anything. So
they didn't know what they had. That was the big
true.
thing. And basically, your whole thought was, I want to be a Duck, and I had to basically take you out to Oregon so you could see the size and the speed of the game. And I thought that deep down inside that you could play there, but I knew that it was going to be a much longer road for you to get there. And when you saw the size and the speed of these guys, I could tell that you basically were like, you know what, man, there's a lot of smaller colleges that are interested in me. And there's your kitty cat right there. Yeah. Hey, Kelly, you want to come get the cat, please?
No, it's just fine.
And one of those, you got to love live entertainment. You got to love it. And once you get out there and you saw the size and the speed and all that stuff, you were kind of like, you know what, Dad, I think I get it. Because there's a big difference between playing for a college and having them appreciate what you're doing for them, and playing for a college and just being a body out there. And if you were gone, they wouldn't miss you at all. And that was probably the most important moment for me when I saw that light switch click. And you kind of went, okay, I get it now, because before that you weren't really interested in smaller schools. And I'm like, buddy, we'll make it work no matter where you want to go. But you only get 5 years. Mm-hmm. And I thought that you kind of took it like a man on the chin, and you're like, you know what, I just want to go. And before you know it, it turned into one of those things where you were literally writing back to coaches every single weekend. If everybody out there that's curious, how do you get your kids into college if they want to play? It took videos, it took emails, it took communications with coaches. It literally was a nonstop thing. Every Friday, updating your stats, getting you to get your stuff on Huddle. Those are the things. Yeah, you've got to literally get out there in front of people and let them know where you're at. And we did that. Mm-hmm. It was nonstop. And then, of course, you chose Morningside University. You were there. Talk a little bit about your experience at Morningside University, because at the time they were two-time national champs. You were there for the third national championship. You have a great conference ring and a great ring for the national championship, but it was one of those trials and tribulations. You're a kid of faith. I'm very proud of that. And you had to learn a little bit on the fly there too.
Yeah. Going to Morningside, very big blessing for me. They offered me, and I had to make a decision, and I made the decision to go to Morningside. And yeah, going into that program and kind of seeing the culture that they have and the culture that they built. I think their mission statement, those who commit will be champions, I think was their mission statement. And it's true. They win GPAC, conference championships very consistently before I got there, and national championships as well. And yeah, just getting in there, Coach Ryan, great coach, has everything really dialed in. That whole coaching staff, no matter who they bring in, I know they have a couple of ex-players I used to play with. They all have the same mission, and it is to win championships, and they know that's the goal. And they are very detailed by every single thing that we do, no matter if it was in the weight room, if it was on the practice field. I know our competition periods during practice at Morningside were crazy. A lot of crap talking. There was a lot of competing, and that's something that you wanted, and that was something that we did every single day. And playing at NIL level, they didn't really have many rules with the NCAA, and you could practice in full pads throughout your whole fall camp. If it's it's a month-long fall camp, and looking back at it as a fifth-year senior now, and going back to my first few years, it was not fun. It was not easy. It was a lot of work and a lot of lifting, a lot of running, a lot of football, a lot of hitting. We do cut drills. With the running backs, I played outside linebacker over there. We would cut. We wouldn't do like bag cut drills. We would have running backs and linebackers full on cut each other. And I don't think a lot of programs do that nowadays. It's just that was different, and I was that was all I knew. But yeah, they have everything fine details there, and that's why they win championships, and that's why they're so successful. And I learned a lot personally from that's the grind, and you have to stick with the grind, and they taught me that my first 2 years there.
And just so you know, when you get ready to go back for your third year, because you were redshirted your first year, your second year you started dressing for home games. The whole time you were home, you were like, Dad, we've got all these kids transferring in from D1 schools, and it's a challenge. And I could tell that you were a little bit apprehensive about going back and being all in because, man, it just seems like every time somebody turned around, you'd be, you're 6 foot, 215 pounds, you run like a 4.7, 4.8, 40, but you got kids coming in that are 6'3", 240 pounds from like North Dakota State, and they're coming in and they're competing for your your spot, and you're like, Dad, I just don't know how I'm ever going to fit within this program. And you had to really have a moment where you had to go talk to the coach, and this is how the good Lord works. You don't ever know where you're going to be tomorrow. Today's where you've got to exist, and tomorrow is out there, and it's a possibility. And you called me up very, distraught, saying, Dad, I don't think I'm even going to be able to dress for home games. I called Coach Runk, who was the former athletic director at the University of Dubuque, who wanted you out of high school, and said, Coach, what should he do? And Coach Runk basically said, have him go talk to the coach. Mm-hmm. Have him go talk to the coach. Any coach that's worth his weight will tell you exactly where you fit. I told you to go talk to the coach. You went and talked to the coach. And the coach basically said, Park, we love you. You're committed. You're one of the few guys we don't really worry about, but I don't know where you fit within our program. But while all of that was happening, there were things happening behind the scenes. And, you don't know what's going to happen. But while you were talking to the coach, I was actively talking with Coach Z from the University of Dubuque, who basically called me after I called Coach Runk and said, we want Parker. And then I called you and basically said, you got to make a choice. That was a big moment in your life, because I'm like, there are a lot of kids that don't have this opportunity right now. You've got an opportunity, but you're going to have to make this decision in literally a couple hours.
Yeah. It was a crazy time. I was going into my junior year, had a really good off season, got stronger, got bigger, and I felt just more athletic overall. I still didn't get where I wanted to be. I was still kind of where I was my freshman to sophomore year, and I was just kind of struggling with that because I knew I could play ball, and I was also sitting there, and I was thinking, maybe it will be my fourth or fifth year that I will see the field or this and that. But I also, I waited 3 years at that point to even get anything, and I got nothing. So I was really kind of just beside myself, and I was just like, why am I still at the same spot? I'd show up to everything, be on time to everything. I wouldn't miss. I'd do my job. And yeah, coach showed me, you just didn't have a spot for me. There was kids that were playing at a good level and, taking their chance and, having doing a great job with it. And I just never got mine. I remember calling my dad, right after practice and just being like, I think I'm done with football. I think I'm done. I think I'm done being an athlete. I'm content with being a college student and just going here and getting my degree and, just being around people. And then, he goes, just give me a second. And, he started talking to Dubuque. And Coach Z called me and he goes, what are you doing? I go, I think I'm done. I want to know if, if I could come play football at University of Dubuque, could I? And he was like, get the hell over here. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it all, take care of. Just pack your stuff up and get over here. He said it in a little bit different tone and a way of doing it. But, Coach Z was just fired up that I would even come and do it, even think about transferring.
Well, and you were coming to a program that was right in the middle of the American Rivers Conference, and he saw and he knew of Morningside University and their intensity and their accomplishments. He was over the moon to have somebody that was in that type of structure with that type of mindset. And as a former coach myself, you look for that. You look for the athletes that are built. We always say you're built different. You got your flag behind you, built different. Those are the kind of guys that you look for, the kind that are going to jump right into the fire, and go into that storm. And that's what he saw. And I remember when we first drove up on campus, literally, you made the decision one day. The very next day, your mom and I rented a van. We packed all your shit in the van, got it packed up. And then we drove 5 hours across Iowa. And the minute Coach Z saw you, he jumped up from that table of, signing all these players and 100 players and ran up and gave you the biggest hug. Yeah. And that's when I realized, what an amazing opportunity. What a great chance for you to have an opportunity. And from that moment forward, you never looked back. No. You literally, I think you felt at that moment like you were home.
Yeah, I really liked them coming out of high school. They wanted me to play running back, funny enough, out of high school. And I played, Morningside was the only, defensive scholarship offer or roster offer that I was offered when I was getting recruited. And I took that, so I stuck with defense. And then, I got there, and he was just really fired up to have me. And I was just excited. I was like, I don't need a start. I don't need, this, and this. I just want a chance. That's all I wanted. I just wanted an opportunity to show that I could play. And I had one practice at outside backer, and my linebacker Coach Huber, he looked at me and he goes, do you ever play defensive end? I go, no, I've never played defensive end, but I played D-line before, like interior when I was younger. And he was like, well, give it a shot. And no kidding, it stuck. I started there for 3 straight years, and I had Coach Z for 1 year, and he let me run the ball a little bit too, which is cool.
The Rhino package, man. He had the Rhino package.
People get fired up. Yeah, people get fired up, man.
You had a lot of defensive players on that too, man. They felt like this was their opportunity to show everybody how it was done. So if it was 3rd and 1 from like the 2-yard line or 3rd and 1 from the anywhere, they would be like, all right, screw it. We're going to put Parker back there, and we're going to run the Rhino. And I got to be honest. That was the one thing that kind of disappointed me. Because I thought Coach Maiari originally was all for it. He actually did run something very similar to it, but you weren't the key in the back. But it was one of those things where he's like, no, I dig it. I think it's cool. But, when you're new, you're trying to figure all this stuff out, and stuff just gets lost in the shuffle. But, man, that was fun. It was really fun watching that. And, 3 years later, you're up there. You're in the top 15 or so of all-time sacks at the University of Dubuque. Coach Maiari and his staff picked up where Coach Z left off, and you guys just kept building the program. I think the foundation is really strong. And you were talking a little bit. When you think back on 3 years of football at the University of Dubuque, and what a beautiful campus, what a great opportunity. I think overall the university has taken fantastic care of not only you but us as a family. And I think it was a great place for you to land. I really, truly do. I think you finished up right where you probably should have been.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think it was a great play. I think everything worked out for everybody in the family. I moved a little bit closer in Dubuque. It's not 4.5 hours, about 3.5, about 3:15 on a good day. And I think it was just better overall for our family. I think, you guys came to every single one of my games I played in, no matter if it was home or away. Games were more makeable, even though it was, it was still some distance, but it wasn't nearly as far as like Morningside games. I felt like, and
they were closer.
yeah, you guys, you made a little family there than these last 2 years with leading the tailgating and stuff like that. And you guys didn't mess around with tailgating either. You guys did really well with tailgating.
Well, I told you, man, we were going to go all in. And we talked a little bit about that when you were done. You don't ever know what's going to happen. But when you made the decision to go play college football, your mom and I obviously were over the moon because we both went to college. I played college ball, and that's what brought me up here to Minnesota. But at the end of the day, the entire life for us changed too. Mm-hmm. And that's an important thing, because had you not went and played college football, your mom and I never would have got our Sprinter van. We never would have discovered out west. Our whole life has changed because you basically made the decision to play college football, and because we are the close-knit family that we are, we're like, well, we're all in. We're going to go tailgate. We're going to support you as best we possibly can. And everywhere you guys went, we wanted to be there because these were very precious days. Kind of took me away from the monster truck world a little bit too, because I'm like, I'm not missing my boy play ball. Mm-hmm. And so it basically expanded Kelly and I, because your mom, let me tell you, when I said we're going to get a Sprinter van and we're going to go on tailgate, she was like, yeah, no, we're not. You remember that?
Yeah, 100%. Mom did not want to do that. Mom didn't want to do it.
She didn't get it.
But she did, though. And then she ended up, realizing, it's take a little time. It's a lot of fun. She had a lot of fun. And you could tell, like, this year especially, she, like, gelled a lot with everybody around and just had a lot of fun. And that's what I wanted to see. And that's what, it brought a smile to my face because I was like, y'all having fun. Y'all get to watch me, play the sport that I love too. And
your sister was
Paige
literally
too,
right across the bridge. I mean, that was one of the greatest things. Here you are. You arrive on campus. Your very first game is against the University of Wisconsin Platteville. Almost your first game. It was actually your second game, I think. And your sister finally could come watch you play college football, and she was all in. Mm-hmm. She loved her brother. That had to be kind of cool, too. There's Peyton watching.
It was cool because she finally learned the sport after me playing it for 18 years. In high school, I got moved up as a freshman to dress varsity, and I played varsity my sophomore year. And, she was a senior when I was a freshman. So when I went to the football game, she would wear my jersey, like my away jersey. And, that's actually what kind of brought her into loving football and, like, paying attention and then loving fantasy football. And all this and learning football, and I thought that was really cool. I don't know if she got to see me play at Morning. She never got to see me play at Morningside. I don't know if she came out once or twice, but she never got to see me play college football, and I was really proud that she could watch me play. Especially, I've had a couple body transformations too. I was a little bit chunkier too, so she's seen me play in so many different ways, and I'm just happy she got to see me play at like my best, which was this year and this last year. That was my best years of football. So.
Well, here you are. You're going to graduate here in the spring. You said you want to coach a little bit, but you don't want all that responsibility. So you're going to basically kind of help the coaches as you're not going to be a grad assistant. You're just going to be there as like a liaison. Mm-hmm. You're going to be there to help them and to make sure that the guys stay in the right mindset. And I've always told you, coaching's fun, and if you get with the right people, you can make a great living at it. I've got friends that are doing it, but you're also like, you have to eat mac and cheese in the beginning to go ahead and get your just rewards at the end. And you've got such an awesome career getting ready to come out, but you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. But you do want to end up in the park somewhere, a national park, being a park ranger. That's where you want to end up heading out to. And that was another fortuitous thing with leaving Morningside. God bless them. They were trying to piece together your major. And at Dubuque, it's right there. You've got it all right there. And I think that was a great thing. And also, something that you can never put a price tag on is the fact that Coach Runkle, my old college coach, Dan Runkle, was the athletic director there. He retired there. And Deb Runkle, they basically became like your grandparents. Every time you'd be at practice, they'd be in the golf course and the golf cart sending me pictures. And, I mean, what a great extended family to have them right there with you.
Yeah, that was super cool. I mean, from day one, like once they heard I was on campus, they were trying to find me. They're great people. I love them. I'm excited and happy that they got to see me play football because they got to coach you, and it was just totally two different things. So they're probably looking at it like, I don't know how, Kenny made this kid that likes to hit and you know, you run at people full speed and hit and make contact. Is, you know, because he was a kicker, so it's like I imagine they're like, this is two different, you know, spectrums, but I think they know we probably act pretty similar. You know, we've had stories of, you know, me walking off at a high school football game and being like, "Are you Kenny's son?" I'm like, "Yep," just because of my walk. So I mean, I guarantee it's kind of like a little deja vu for them, having an Navitsky around, you know, doing exactly what, you know, I know you probably did in college and I did too. I'm a goofball, so I have a lot of fun. But yeah, I think they loved having me around. She'd send me emails she sent me text messages before every game. You know, just you know, asking, you know, what they're good at, what they're doing, and yeah, it was a blessing to have them around. I know they love having me around too, so that was really cool. They would be on the golf cart would be around practice all the time.
Well,
cool.
you know, and she would send me those pictures and let me know that you were doing okay. And you know, the best part about this, and we talked about this, you know, your whole time growing up, you know, you're going to blink and you're going to be 10 years further down the road. Your ass going to blink again, you'll be 10 years further. I just turned 55, and I'm telling you, it was like a week ago I was 45 and going with Monster Jam to Australia. You know, that was almost 10 years ago. But it seems like it was just yesterday. And it seems like 35 was just, you know, a couple of weeks ago. So the one thing that as your father I've always tried to instill in you and Peyton is enjoy the moments that you have because they're incredibly precious. And, you know, the saying forever young, I'm always young at heart, but that don't mean you're going to be young forever. You will not be young forever. And you just got to hold on to those things. So, you know, your mom and I loved watching you guys play. We had the best time in the world traveling and seeing the Midwest. I know Peyton had you know, you drug her along, and now she's a huge football fan. She's a bigger football fan, I got to be honest, than
me.
I am.
Yeah,
I mean,
me too. I mean,
she
it's
knows
crazy.
more shit about the NFL than I do. She's
insane.
setting my roster for my damn, you know, fantasy team. And
She'll
I'm just kind
me.
of laughing.
She'll call me sometimes though and ask what I need to put in for fantasy. So don't think she knows all that. She'll be asking me sometimes, but she does love football. I think more than I do at this point.
She went all in.
Yeah,
she went all in, and you know your mom. You know your mom. She's so soft hearted when it comes to this stuff. This whole last year was just a you know, ups and downs, but I'm proud of her. She kept it together pretty good. I got to be honest with you. There were a lot of times when it wasn't, but the friends you made, the accomplishments, the fact that you're still going to go ahead and graduate in the springtime, and then, man, you got the rest of your life ahead of you. Where are you going to be 5 years from now? Now, keep in mind the good Lord laughs while we make plans.
Right, no, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, but where ideally would, you know, where would you like to be? I know you want to be in a park, but there are parks everywhere, man.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of have a little plan set out. I'm not really too keen with it right now, but yeah, I think I'm going to stay in Dubuque for another year. Just kind of get my ducks in a row, kind of get settled, start throwing my name out to a bunch of different hats, kind of, the national parks and the state parks in different states. I've been very fortunate to do a internship down in Utah for one of their state parks down there this last summer.
That was awesome, by the way.
Yeah, it was very cool. I was just basically doing park ranger stuff down at a state park down there.
What a cool thing, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you had your fire pit 100 yards away from a 5,000-foot drop into the canyon, Dead Horse Point. And you know, your mom and I had a chance to come out there and see you. It was amazing.
Yeah,
it was
insane.
Surreal how beautiful that place was.
And I was very grateful to work out there. So I was very grateful to do that, and then I worked at Walter Woods and Prairies in Dubuque for another summer, and just getting that experience because I don't want to do grad school. So I'm just hoping that my experience with working, you know, and doing stuff like that, kind of being, you know, in tune with what, you know, jobs want to do after college. Hopefully it'll help me out. But yeah, honestly, I know you guys want to move out to Wyoming and Montana, kind of that area. I mean, that's always a dream. I think the dream for me would be working as a Yellowstone National Park Ranger. I think that park. I've been there once, and I think that park is pretty amazing. Spectacular. You guys have been there several times.
And what's funny, we've probably been there 7 times, and we still have not seen most of the park.
Right.
It's so beautiful. And I always tell people, you've had a chance to go out there, and Peyton's had a chance to go out there. You know, you can't really explain the Tetons and Yellowstone to people. You can say, oh, it's beautiful, it's this, it's like heaven, but you don't really understand how beautiful it is until you're actually out there, because once you're there and you see it, you go, you know, you can't do this justice by talking about it. You just got to go check it out.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the area that I would love to be in. But I mean, like I said, we've been to Oregon, my dad and I, and we had a great time. Beautiful out there. It's a lot different weather. It's a little colder. It's the cold there is different.
Don't sleep on Oregon though.
No, the cold,
it's beautiful.
Man. It's so beautiful,
but it's just too damn expensive. That's the problem with Oregon. It's just crazy how expensive it is.
In that cold there, it's a wet cold, so it gets through all your clothes. It's tough. I'd be blessed to work out there too. Anywhere on the West Coast. I wouldn't like to work in California. There's a lot going on. It's expensive.
It is really expensive.
It's not beautiful. It's not beautiful.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Beautiful state. It's just expensive. There's a lot going on. But yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna, wherever the good Lord puts me and wants to place me, He'll put me there. So yeah, it's kind of like I said, it's not my road. It's His road, and I'm just kind of put on and I'm following Him. So.
Well, the cool thing about this is your sister had a chance to do a podcast with me, and she traveled out, ironically enough, California and did some shows with me.
Right.
And then you were like, well, Dad, I got to get my chance to get on a podcast and see what it's all about. And the great thing is we've got stories. We've got a lot of really great road that's behind us. And as that road unfurls itself in front of you, you're going to realize how amazing this journey is. As your parents, we just kind of try to help you avoid the potholes that we stepped in on our road. And it's challenging because when you're young, you're invincible and you can do all this stuff. And we're really proud of you and Peyton. We think that you guys have done an amazing job. And, what's out there for you tomorrow? Only the good Lord knows. But the cool thing is now, no matter what happens, you got this moment where you have this podcast. And you get to hang out with your dad on Into the Storm and basically get that bison culture because you've lived it. Your sister's lived it. And your mom and I love the fact that you're home. Mm-hmm. Don't ever not come home when you get a chance. It's always good.
Because, man, I try to get home. You know that.
It is.
I try to get home.
Tough, man.
It is tough.
You get out there because you live there, and everything that you do is there. And that's the challenge. And your mom and I know that. But, man, when you come home, it's all about you guys. And your sister loves having you home. It's great. But, we'll end it on this. We have a great Christmas. We want you guys to have an amazing New Year. Parker's home for a little bit, getting a chance to catch up. Anything in closing before we go ahead and sign off and we go back out and hang out with your mom and your sister?
No, I'm proud of this man. I've watched, I'm in Dubuque a lot, so I don't get home a lot, but I watch all the podcasts when he does. I like, hearing my pops talk. He's a very smart man, so I like to hear him talk and kind of take bits and pieces like I've been doing my whole life. But no, I'm proud of you, and I appreciate you having me on. Hey. I've been asking for it, so
you're in, man.
I'm on it now. So.
We can talk about the NIL, and we can talk about all this other stuff another time. There's always going to be stuff. We talk life, politics, culture. We talk a little bit about sports. But the great thing is my boy's home. I love him very much. He's made my wife, Kelly, and my life much more complete. He's a great partner in crime to his sister, who is also just top notch. So we feel incredibly blessed. I want to wish you guys a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And on behalf of my son, Parker Navitsky, the now alum football great of the University of Dubuque, home of the mighty, mighty Spartans. And on behalf of myself, Ken Navitsky, we love you guys. God bless. And we'll see you guys again next time for more Into the Storm. Thank you so much. God bless, guys. See you soon.
We're anti-fragile. Like, nothing's going to break us. We're just going to come back bigger, better, stronger.